Survivors ready. Go!
All right, Richard Hatch and Denise Stapley.
I'm so tired, man.
I feel like if Richard beats Ozzy, he beats Denise.
That's what I was gonna say. If Richard beats Ozzy, Denise won.
But yeah, I think I still do Richard over Denise.
Yeah, I think I don't think Denise's gameplay warrants beating a guy like Richard.
It's like what feels right, you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like winning feels right.
Just like this next roundup, Monica Culpepper versus Jonathan Penner. What feels right here, boys?
Yeah, sorry to the ladies, but
sorry again.
I do think Penner is our underdog going into the Elite Eight.
Penner could be a dark horse win.
It's Elite Eight time.
Oh, we didn't even pick like a winner before we did all this.
Oh,
who cares?
We're picking. Right,
it's gonna be one of these 16.
Oh, Parvati and Malcolm. I feel like Malcolm's one of our favorites. I mean, Parvati's also like one of my favorites. I do like Parvati more than Malcolm.
It's also like, Parv, who should have been the first two-time winner. Like, come on. Love Malcolm, but it's Parv.
I vote Malcolm.
I'm voting Parvati.
I'm glad that wasn't a long one.
Suri and Andrea. I feel like again,
Suri bested Andrea.
Also, it's facts.
Then should be like a 3-time winner.
True.
That was fast. Tyson and Jeremy though.
Ooh, and they're friends.
Did Jeremy best Tyson in Winners at War, or was it?
Nah, they were on the same side. Jeremy left the tribal, and Tyson got voted out.
Yeah.
So kinda.
Kinda, but didn't he go out like the next vote or two?
Yeah.
Jeremy was playing a better game though. Tyson already got voted out at that point. He got voted out twice before Jeremy got voted out. In that season, Jeremy was playing better. Jeremy was fighting hard that season.
Yeah,
I was a hardcore Jeremy fan that season. I was rooting for him.
I think because of that. And again, I feel like this move needs to be factored in here. Not going with the split vote and essentially mathematically voting himself out. It's a really dumb move, and Jeremy hasn't made a move like that.
Think about it this way. Their first season, they get eliminated about the same spot. Their second season, Tyson does that, and Jeremy wins.
Yeah.
The thing is...
and then the third season, Tyson has a dominant win, but Jeremy still goes farther than Tyson when Tyson gets voted out twice.
The thing is, like I've said it before, like I feel like I think of your best more than I think of your worst. So, you know, if it's just one really bad move, I'm not gonna think less of you like a JT who I feel like has just like played worse the entire time. You know, I don't think Tyson played a bad game ever except that one move. You know,
I totally agree. I
don't think that encapsulates
when you're looking at their winning games, it is very tough because they're very close. They're very close.
I do think Tyson had a more dominant game, just being top dog the entire time, whereas Second Chance just had like a lot of Titans near the end.
I think Jeremy's win was more impressive because of how hard it was to maneuver with all the voting blocks and being able to get on top of each situation. Tyson's was definitely way more dominant, but I think Jeremy's was more impressive.
I'm voting Jeremy.
I wouldn't fight anyone who said that.
And he played two idols correctly to benefit him.
I'll vote Tyson. But...
When Tyson should have played his idol, technically speaking.
Yeah. Also, like, I want to point out how kind of dumb Tyson's move was with like not playing the idol.
Yeah.
You know.
Think about it this way. Think about it this way. His logic was, well, I mean, I still had Redemption Island, and I would come back in with an idol, so then I would be guaranteed Final Four if I come back in. Realistically, who would he have gone up against that he would lose to? Because he won the Battleback duel in Winners at War against the entire pre-merge.
Yeah, I mean, cause it's hard to think because like Laura Moret was like the challenge beast, but then lost at the very end to Tina, and so I don't know what would have happened. It's like if you told me that like Tyson has to fight Tina, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's Tyson. But if Tyson has to go against Laura Moret, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know. But Tina beat Laura, so really, I
Yeah.
don't know.
But realistically, it wasn't the worst thing in the world because he doesn't go home. He does have a backup.
Yeah,
Fair, but also,
But I still would have played it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you have this at your disposal to truly save yourself from this position, this very compromising position. And I feel like had he actually had gone voted out and had to fight his way back in the game, it's different when Ozzy uses it for strategy, and he would have to go through that. Yeah, he could play it off as if it were strategy, but I mean, why would you even dance with the devil like that? Like, you don't want to come that close to death and realize, man, that could have been it. Like, what if he just didn't play his idol and then he loses the next challenge? I know it's unlikely, but the fact that he could have done that, it's way too high of a chance.
The thing is, like, he needs more things to go his way coming back in, because if Katie stays in and Tyson goes, next vote, Jervis or Monica's going home, whoever doesn't win immunity. And he comes back in at the 5. If he has the idol to play there, then if Monica doesn't win, she goes home. So then he has to win. Like, he has to win that Final Four immunity. So a lot more things has to go his way. So I don't know. Yeah, I agree. He totally should have played it. And even still, I still think that him getting voted out would knock him down to the jury.
Yeah,
Looking at and who's getting voted for there.
exactly, because he would have been voted out at all. Like, the fact
I think
that it
Hayden
was so
would have a great shot if Hayden stays there, or if Hayden votes out Sierra. Then so if it's Sierra, Katie, Hayden, and Tyson, Final Four, and Tyson wins immunity. If they can vote out Sierra there, I think Hayden has a great shot at winning, because he's the reason why Tyson gets voted out. He would have been the catalyst for that.
And he would have on Tyson the fact that they had targeted Hayden so much in that end game, and they just couldn't get the job done. And he made it to Final Tribal. I mean, the added benefit of, well, maybe don't mention the fact that he won Big Brother in his Final Tribal. Anyways, I digress. This just means Jeremy wins, right?
Yeah,
I'm voting Tyson, but
I'm voting Jeremy.
But I completely understand anyone voting Jeremy.
Yeah, suck Jeremy's big black dick, Camden.
All right.
Don't threaten me every time.
We have the Queen, Sandra, versus Sarah. So here's the deal, right? I used to be such a Sandra hater, but as time has gone on, I've gone to appreciate her more and more. Especially now with her being on Australian Survivor. I'm just like, you know what? The fact that she's still able to convince people to do stuff after all this time is just crazy to me. Like, being a 2-time winner for a long time, in every season, she's been able to convince people to go her way for a certain amount of time. Like, people don't just automatically go after her. So it is pretty crazy to me how she still has that power with being maybe the biggest figure in Survivor.
It is crazy that each time it wasn't just that she, got dragged along to how far she did. Every time she got voted out, we all thought like, oh, it's amazing she got as far as she did, in Game Changers and Winners at War. The sad thing is I just feel like she did more in those 2 seasons than, especially in Heroes vs. Villains, not as much Pearl Islands, but I feel like her 2 wins just don't have that same fiery passion that she brought to the pre-merge of her other 2 times playing. Pearl Islands a little bit, I guess.
I think Pearl Islands was a good win. I think Heroes vs. Villains is just unfortunate, but like it plays into the idea of the lesson that you learned, that that with that season, that you needed to master the art of being a villain and a hero. You can't just be a villain because all the heroes are on the jury.
Yeah.
I think I'm going Sandra.
I'm going Sarah.
I'm going Sandra.
Oh. I don't like being on this end.
How's it
That's 2 in
feel?
a row for you.
Damn, yeah. All right. The last 4 people
Of the
until our
Sweet
8.
16.
Tony versus Spencer, something that did happen.
And we saw how that played out.
And yeah,
It's tough, man.
I
Spencer,
think the better man won in every way.
I still think it's Tony, yeah.
Spencer has a better track record, we will say, technically speaking.
Technically speaking, but Tony is a 2-time winner. Spencer made it to the end.
That is true.
If you
Spencer
take
made it-
Tony's 2 best and Spencer's 2 best,
Spencer made it to the end.
Okay,
but
but
got no
Spencer
votes.
only has 2, so
yeah.
give him another one to win.
Okay.
Maybe.
I mean, think about it this way: if he wins another season, I don't know. I think that might be more impressive.
Maybe.
Maybe
but-
that's an argument to be had, but he didn't, so Tony moves on.
Yes, sir.
Now we get to the cream of the crop.
We get B-Rob versus Russell Hance.
What every Survivor fan wanted to see in Redemption Island, first of all, but I feel like the rivalry that has like just been the face of the show for such a long time.
Yeah.
It really never got to do it except one time.
And I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think the rivalry ended the right way. I don't like. To his credit, Russell Hance is a great player, and I'm not going to say that he's skated by so far, but this is his strongest competition so
Well,
far.
here's the deal. In a head-to-head basis, Russell outsmarted Rob in every sense of the word. In a head-to-head basis, you really can't count Redemption Island as them going at it and Rob getting the best of him. Rob had a
Sure.
way more gullible tribe.
No, yeah,
Which
I'm
also-
when I say that, I'm not trying to say that what happened in Redemption Island should have happened. What I'm saying is overall as a player, sure, Russell Hance outplayed Boston Rob immensely in Heroes vs. Villains, but the fact that we all agree here, and I feel like it's not a hot take to say that Rob should have won All-Stars. Sure, that could have changed the trajectory of his whole, like the rest of his Survivor career, but with that added knowledge, on top of having another win, on top of doing like not fairly well in his other outings, but on top of being that much of a true idol for Survivor, I think you can't discredit that when he's going up against someone like Russell Hance, who, yes, a lot of people do know and a lot of people do love and cherish as a player, and a lot of people do feel like should have won Samoa. But, at the end of the day, I still think in this scenario, when it comes down to it, it's a little bit likability, and it's also a factor of just, I think overall, I'm going with my gut. It's got to be Rob.
I agree that I feel like Rob is the more well-rounded person, and which is why it really sucks that we didn't get to see a 22 matchup between the two of them, because I feel like Russell had the advantage of, or in that specific Heroes vs. Villains game, Russell had the advantage of knowing what the game was like now, whereas Rob played without idols or whatever. Now that they both had a couple seasons between the two of them with idols in the game under their belt, because Rob handled the idols stuff really well in that season, and I would have loved to see a Russell versus Rob where both of them had practice in idols, advantages, stuff like that. And I feel like Russell was just I just know I created the modern Survivor, so I just know how to best you. And I would love to see what Rob would have done if he had that kind of practice. But I do think that he's the better rounded player between the two, because he's very similar to Russell. Yeah, he was a villain in Heroes vs. Villains. He's obviously a villain, but is the most like heroic villain, and I feel like he's someone who's like, well, yeah, if I get to the end, I'm gonna win. Russell, I don't think could ever get to the end and win, which is why I think that's Rob.
I would like to say that I can agree with the fact that Boston Rob is a more well-rounded player in terms of like just social aspect. I think Russell is more of a precedent setter in the game with what he did with Idols and making the modern version game the way it is. That is a huge reason why he's on my Mount Rushmore. What he did for the game is unlike maybe any other player. And I think that's a huge factor to consider. What he has done for the game is immense.
I think they would both be on my Mount Rushmore.
I'm voting Rob.
I'm going to vote Russell.
I'm going to vote Rob. Russell's going to be really mad at us.
I think you guys are wrong.
Connor, is this the first time you're on the wrong side?
No.
Okay.
In a while, at least.
All right, Elite 8.
Elite 8, baby.
Yep. And I don't like
there.
All right, Richard Hatch versus Jonathan Penner. I kind of wish people were going up against both of them.
I think for me personally, I understand the approach of respecting your elders and knowing where the game came from. He originated the strategy overall. But I think in terms of knowing, like having the social adaptation and being able to become the chameleon that Jonathan Penner sort of did his best to become in Philippines and worked his ass off and turned his game fully around, I think that puts Penner above Richard, in my opinion. Even though Penner never won, even though he never got to a final tribal council, right? Or was he?
No. I think 7 was the best he ever got.
Yeah. Even though he never got that far, I think in All-Stars showing the true ineptability of Richard Hatch to be able to win put up against, I would say, fair competition, because that early on, season 1, not everybody's going to be thinking about the game like Richard Hatch is, but when you're put into a pool of people that are all thinking about the game as the way that you are, and still being too socially inept to adapt to your surroundings and figure out a way for you further into the game, I think that is a true depiction of the differences in the level of gameplay between these two, and that's why I'm voting Jonathan Penner.
See, I disagree on 2 parts. One, I feel like Jonathan Penner, his detriment was always the social game, even in Philippines, where he did definitely turn it around, but, didn't turn it around the same way like a Wentworth or a Spencer or a Jeremy did, especially with his placement. I mean, still, 7th is the best he ever got. Also, I feel like we're bashing Richard Hatch too much in All-Stars. I don't think it was really his social game at all. They clearly stated very early on, we're going for winners. If you won before, we're voting for you. And I think there was nothing he could do about that. I think it was a lot less to do with his social game than it was just like that was the first time returning players happened, and they all immediately thought, get the threats out, which has been the precedent of any returner season ever. I feel like it's not fair to be like, well, yeah, he had a super dumb tribe, It's like they were all put on the same foot. It's not like Rob, where it's like, well, we have like this mastermind of the game coming in who's also like super likable and like handy and everything, and then just a bunch of dumb people who have seen the show for 22 seasons or 21 seasons. Season 1, it's like they're all put on the same equal playing ground. It was just that Richard was so much more advanced than any of them. I feel like it's not fair to be like, well, he's really smart and they're stupid, so, we should think less of his game once he gets. I feel like the reason he got out in All-Stars was because they went for winners, not because he was a lesser player than we actually thought.
I do think precedent should only be able to carry you so far.
Yeah.
Because, like, sure, yeah, he did set up the game, but does that make him the best player ever? I don't think so. I don't think that's true at all. I do respect everything that he's done for the game, and I agree. I don't think that you can. I think that he was able to look at the situation that they were in and make the best of it. Total props to him for that. When it comes to Penner, I just think Penner has a better story. I do think he has tried to evolve his game throughout, whether to a failure or a success. That's up to interpretation. I think he's tried. But I do think that every single time he was in the game, almost immediately, he's always looked at as a threat. He's always looked at as someone who people want to get out. And I think that he was able to, for where he's always positioned, I think he's always done his best to get farther into the game. But yeah, like I said, I do just like Penner better than I do like Hatch, and that's just a personal opinion.
So
Penner's
I'm
moving
voting.
on.
You all voting Penner?
I'm voting Penner.
Yep.
Dang. And Jonathan Penner goes to the Final Four.
Another dark horse, man.
A dark ass horse.
Parv versus
all right,
Suri.
I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
The final two that should have been.
Oh,
Yeah. Man, actually, I guess it probably would have just been Suri wins. But I was like, what would have happened in that?
And
I
the
think
craziest part is, boys, we're at an hour and a half right now.
We'll get done before 2 hours.
There's no stopping this train now. There's no shot we're having three parts to this. But man, Parv and Suri at this deep, dude, this is crazy.
And I think they should both be deeper.
And they're
I
both
feel-
number 1 seeds.
I feel like they're both top 4 players.
100%.
I think I put them on my Mount Rushmore.
It's tough, but as time has gone on, I've got less on Parv and higher on Suri. I just think Suri has just played some dominant ass games. Seriously, we talked about it earlier. She was in 3 seasons. She was so close.
Yeah.
Super consistent with her getting bested early in Heroes vs. Villains. Which is crazy, because when you think of Suri, you don't think of Heroes vs. Villains at all.
Yeah. So I have to pinch myself and realize, oh yeah, she was on that season. And I think that's just due to the fact that, like, it is kind of an easy vote in the sense of everybody loves Suri. And I feel like if her
but the thing is that she was less of a threat, I feel like, in that season than she was in Game Changers, and she still went far in Game Changers.
Yeah. It did help that she didn't have to go to Tribal pre-merge.
Maybe.
I think that does help, but...
Because I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't put the people in Game Changers... I wouldn't put it past them to not, consider that idea. It's definitely something to consider.
Well,
I haven't been down on Parvati ever, but I have been, I was always really high on Suri, but as time has gone on, I've just been even higher on Suri.
I'm gonna have to agree. I'm gonna go Suri as well.
I'm going Suri.
I'll go Parvati just so there's a vote on her, but I think I would vote Suri.
It's tough. It's really tough. I wish they both could have gone to. That feels weird.
If that was the finals, I wouldn't have minded.
Yeah. No. Same. That's
Jeremy versus that's not Suri. Sandra.
Oh.
Now I voted against Sandra the past 2 times.
You're like me with Richard Hatch, because I didn't vote for him too many times either.
And I don't think I'm changing. I just she won twice. I feel Jeremy's win impressive, and I feel like a good amount more impressive. But you do have, I guess he did get like 7th and 9th or something other time, or probably not even 9th. It was probably like 11th or something. But
it's really tough.
Sandra also got pre-merge voted out. Spoiler alert, 3 times now.
Yeah, day 16 curse, baby.
But Jeremy made merge every time. Won one of them. One of the most impressive wins, in my opinion. Not as impressive as Tyson's, but
to be honest, I don't see I'm only seeing high net positives for Jeremy, and to the Queen's credit, obviously she's won twice. She's played the game 5 times.
I have just been high on her as of late, and I was just like, it's just crazy that she's not the first boot every time she plays.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to vote for Sandra here. I hate to do it, but I think I have to.
All right, Pele, you get tie break.
I'm sorry to say it, Connor, but I'm voting Jeremy.
That's fine. I like Jeremy.
I'm a fan.
I'm cool.
We have one more person to bring to the final 4.
And it's either Tony or Boston Rob.
So we got Tonathan and Urobithan.
Yes. I just feel like Tony came along into this world of Survivor. You know? He became all the things that Rob couldn't. I feel like he led the game similarly to Rob in Redemption Island, just on a better cast. And I feel like he just came back and did it again in an all winners cast. I feel like he did what Rob had been hailed as the best for, and just did it better.
I agree.
Sorry, Rob. You made
There's
it.
No fight here. Elite 8. That's not something to be. That's not something to discredit at all.
Top 8 out of 128.
Hey, that's better than 3/5 of your outings.
All right, guys. This is our Survivor Mount Rushmore. Tony, Suri, Jeremy, and Penner.
I would not have guessed that.
I would not have guessed that at all either.
So, I guess technically, it's Penner versus Jeremy.
Yeah. There's no technically there. That's what it is, Camden.
I mean, in real brackets, it is like the left versus the right.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is usually just 64 though, so that's why.
So do we want to do? Penner
do we want to say it's Suri versus Penner and Tony versus Jeremy, just because I think that would bring out the better championship?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Love you, Penner, but it's Suri.
So Suri wins.
So Suri will put her on the top row. And we'll put the winner of Tony and Jeremy on the bottom row. I'm sorry, it does look ugly, but I do just think having a Tony Suri championship would look way better than Tony Jeremy or Suri Jeremy or Suri Penner or Tony Penner.
That's fine, but Tony has to win this round first.
Then let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So, Tony bested Jeremy in Winners at War. I mean, he even like kept him around like as long as he wanted to, you know. Like there was the vote. I think it was the Sophie vote where Jeremy was gonna be the one going home, and Tony said, no, I'm going to switch that. He went to Jeremy and said, like, do this plan instead. And then Sophie went home. So it was like Tony saved him. And then, like, 2 votes later, he was like, yeah, I'm done with Jeremy. And then when he wanted Jeremy gone, Jeremy left. You know, when he wanted to stay, Jeremy stayed.
And even then,
if their pre-merge tribe lost, Tony was gone because Jeremy said so. If we're looking at it that way, if their tribe lost one more,
that's true.
So there is something to be said about that. Tony wasn't always in control that season. He very well could have gone home multiple times in the pre-merge.
Yeah, definitely. I do just think that your game after the merge is much more impressive than pre-merge. And I think that's what people are going to look at, too, when they vote for you and stuff.
That's fair. Now let's look at their first 2 games. Tony wins his first game, and then he fucking blows it in the second one. So Jeremy gets to merge in a dominant position, gets flipped on. Then he comes back and fixes his game by having people in front of him so he doesn't get flipped on and wins it. Tony doesn't do that. He doesn't learn how to change at all. He just is crazy from the jump, and it gets him voted out.
The thing is, I think he does that in Winners at War.
Agreed. Pre-Winners at War, I think most people would say that Jeremy had the better turnaround.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously.
But at that point, people are like, well, that's just who Tony is. It's not like he can change.
Yeah. And then he proved the world wrong and did change. And I feel like that's more a testament to Tony, that it showed, like, if he wants to win, he'll win. You know, I feel like Jeremy wanted to win all 3 times and won once. Or Tony only wanted to win twice, you know.
I don't know. Wanted to win. He was there. He was trying to play.
Yeah, I'm sure he wanted to play in wanted to win in Game Changers. It was just he did not try nearly as hard, and thought, I'm just gonna go crazy.
He talks about this in his Winners at War deep dive with Rob Cisternino on his podcast, and he goes in depth about saying, like, am I the most proud of my Game Changers game? No. But it was when I got on the beach and I saw that the only winners there were me, JT, and Sandra, and I realized I'm aligned on Sandra's tribe. I think from the get, he was like, I have to align with Sandra, and then after like day 2, they were like, maybe I can't work with this girl. I have to try and get her out, blah, 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 blah. And then what happened, you know. It was simply a matter of he saw in his mind he's not going to win because there's only 3 other winners there, and he didn't see that going longevity, so he just wanted to have fun, and that's exactly what he did. He made the fucking spy bunker, which, good God, what even was that?
Even that, though, it was just like the first minute they land on the beach, he says, I'm gonna go be stupid, see ya, and go search the title. Not even that explanation is a lot more understandable, but we haven't even gotten to that point yet before he starts doing stupid stuff.
Exactly.
But then again, I think it's a testament to, you know, it's like he can turn it on when he wants, he can change when he wants, he can adapt when he wants, and he must just be the most likable person ever. He must just have like this amazing strategy game that we don't know about, that we don't see through TV, just because it's like we see him as like crazy guy, but it's like he must just be the most likable guy ever, because no one saw it coming. And that's what everyone said, is that they were like, he's just so likable, we just do what he says. No.
And it's tough because if I'm correct, Connor, are you voting Jeremy, and Camden, you're voting Tony?
No, I'm voting Tony.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Then let's just vote Tony and move on.
I just wanted to have a conversation about it because it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not out of the question. Yeah.
We have our championship. I personally believe these are the 2 best players to ever play. I don't know about you all, but
I wouldn't agree. Or no, I wouldn't disagree. Sorry.
No.
I think that's pretty dumb of you to say, actually.
I'm really
Yeah,
tired. I'm like an hour and a half away from 24 hours.
I mean,
up.
they're both on my Mount Rushmore. So
it's
tough.
It's really
Two-time
tough.
player versus the best to never win, really, is what this is.
Two-time winner, you mean?
That's what I just said.
You said two-time player.
Said two-time winner.
Okay.
I have no say.
But yeah, I mean,
this is why I want to switch up the championship, because I just felt like, well, whoever wins between the two of them in the final four is just crushing Jeremy or Penner. So I feel like this is a more fair championship, you know.
I agree.
I'm torn. I've definitely been a Tony fan my entire Survivor career, ever since even before Game Changers. When I saw Kagayan, I was like, that's my favorite player of all time. And over time, I've been higher and higher on Suri, and have just realized, like, it's a shame, because I feel like she's this close to being a 3-time winner, truly. And all three of those things being that, you know, actually, two of them being things that were not in her control, that just, like, they kind of screwed her over. The fire making, it's like, I guess she could have won fire, you know. But either way, super close to winning 3 times, and I feel like arguably the best social game ever. You know,
I think that even though Suri has, I will agree with you, probably the best social game of all time in all adaptations of Survivor. Even though she was a potential 3-time winner, even though she is like a true icon in all of the sense when it comes to the game, there's nobody else in the game of Survivor ever that has won a total of $3 million, that has been the sole survivor twice, that has done it in such a dominant fashion to where I would have to pull up the numbers again of like the votes received. But the fact that Tony received so little votes in all of his time playing, it's insane. If he hadn't gotten so many votes in Game Changers, I want to say by the numbers he'd be the greatest of all time. And that's very, very, very hard to beat.
You look at it, what is Tony known for? Like crazy, like strategic moves and like flips and stuff. Suri does that too. She's just not crazy about it. In Panama, she executes the 3-2-1 vote to vote out the floater, so she has a better chance of getting to the end. An insanely smart move that relies on everybody voting the correct way that they said they would for it to work. She outsmarted everybody by doing that. It worked in everybody's favor. Because even Aris and Danielle voting with her, they both wanted to take Courtney further, but she convinced them otherwise. An amazing social move and strategic move. In Micronesia, convincing Eric to take his immunity necklace off. Insanely. What?
It was her idea. People don't credit it a lot. I feel like a lot of people think of that as either a Parvati move or Natalie did execute it, so give her major props too. But Suri was the one when they were sitting there just like talking to each other like, man, one of us are going home. She was the one who spoke up and was like, he wouldn't give you that necklace, you don't think, right? Probably not, nah. And then they start thinking like, I mean, why not try it? It was her idea.
Yeah. And it's crazy because in her thing, in her voting confessional, she goes like, might not be able to beat him with these, but you can beat him with these. And that's just like something that embodies her game. She's not physical or anything like that, but she's able to get herself through the game with that strategic prowess. And she does stuff like that in Game Changers as well. Like I think that she is very socially aware and strategically aware. Possibly even more than Tony. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think so because Tony can lose his cool,
Mhm.
will cast stuff, and I just speak llama to her.
I need to speak llama to her.
But yeah, I feel like Suri is someone who would never do anything like that,
Mhm.
Then also though, is it more impressive that like Tony can do that and still, not be targeted? Because the thing is, I don't think he received a single vote in Cagayan, and I don't think he received a vote in Winners at War. I might be wrong.
He definitely didn't in Winners at War because at the end he's like, nobody wrote my name down in this game. So I remember that, but I don't know about Cagayan.
Maybe not, but either way,
I can't imagine so because he had the God Idol.
yeah,
he never had to use it.
The fact that did he play
He
the
also-
idol
I
at
don't
did he
think
play
he
the idol at 5? He did, right?
huh?
Did Tony play the idol at 5?
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think
So-
he ever did because he
He
might
ca-
because he had two.
Yeah, because he
might have
convinced
played
him that is
and he told people that the super idol is that I can play it at 4.
Yeah.
So he might have played one idol at 5 and then kept the other one. So he's like, I'm keeping this one for 4. But I do know that I don't think he ever told anyone that it was a super idol. It was an idol that could be played after the votes, which like if he did tell people that, I would have understood a lot more, like not targeting him ever. The same thing with Yule. It's like, how much credit can I give when it's like I would never want to target that person because they have an idol afterwards,
I definitely
I feel like that's more of a testament to his game that he didn't even need to reveal that information, and if he did, then it like, yeah, sure, no one would have targeted him, but he didn't even reveal that. It's like people still didn't target him even though they thought it was just a normal idol.
I definitely fully remember he never told anybody that it was a super idol because there was the big reveal at the Final Four, and he holds up the super idol and just explains it to Jeff. Never, like, literally locks eyes with Jeff, only talks to Jeff that entire time and says, yeah, this is a super idol, but it can only be played after the votes. I was supposed to play it at 5, Jeff, so I'm just banking on the fact that hopefully this social play here, this strategy play here can get me into the final 3, and it does exactly that. And then on top of that, he is able to convince himself to the end, which is one of the dumbest moves in Survivor history. Realistically speaking, in any other sort of circumstance, Tony shouldn't have won Cagayan. He shouldn't have. But
because I'm trying to think, like, what difference does it make, because I'm like, how much of it is a credit to Tony convincing Wu? How much of it is a detriment to Wu making that stupid move? But I'm trying to think, and I'm like, I think if the roles were reversed and Spencer was trying to plead to Wu why he should be in Final 2 instead of Cass, I don't think he could have convinced Wu.
No.
And Tony did. I think his social game is something that we don't see as well just because he's more of a TV personality and he's like crazy. That's what we see through him.
I do think a part of it would also I think a part of it is also just him and Wu were together from the start, and they had an alliance, and the loyalty was there. So I feel like Wu also thought that he wasn't getting dogged by him.
Yeah.
I will say another thing to put in Suri's column, she made it as far as she did 3 times without ever winning immunity, without having an idol, and if I'm not mistaken, without ever having an advantage.
She thought she had Sarah.
She thought she had Sarah's, but realistically speaking, she went as far as she did all 3 times without any of that. Tony would not have won Winners at War without at least one of those immunities. If he didn't win the immunity when Kim was turning on him, he could have been voted out there. Those immunities, the idols in Cagayan were a huge benefit to his game.
Yeah.
In Cagayan, I don't know if the idols necessarily would have made him lose, but they were definitely a help. I think in Winners at War, all those immunities were a tremendous help for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I think even with that, though, I still have to give it to Tony. Like, off of the barest of bones, based off of the fact that, yes, Suri should be a winner, but we don't get Tony in Winners at War if he doesn't win Kagayan. And no joke, like, the barest of bones, Tony shouldn't have won Kagayan, and he did. I think that in of itself is more impressive than almost getting there 3 separate times.
I disagree. I think Suri has done the most with the least, and I think that she's the best player to have never won. I think she is the embodiment of someone who watches the show and wants to play, and she has created strategies and done just as much for this game that Tony has in terms of creating new ways to play. And I personally think that she is deserving of the winner of this bracket, and my vote goes to Suri.
All right, Camden, it's your turn.
It's hard because it's like, do I find it more impressive that everything Suri did was solely with her brain and nothing else? Because, like Tony, whether or not he used those idols, he had them for tool and like advantages and whatnot, winning challenges. Those were tools to get him through the game. It's like Suri did that without all that stuff. But Tony did find those things, so it's hard being like, well, I don't want to just like discredit them because he went and found the idols. He got the advantages. He got rid of that extortion advantage, which is a pretty amazing thing to do that was all through mouth. It wasn't like he had to ask so many different people to give them stuff that they thought had power in the game. In the end, I get it, the coins, they were kind of a miss.
Yeah, honestly, I think that might be maybe the most impressive thing that he did that season was getting rid of that extortion advantage. I was shocked that he was able to pull that off. And then he won that challenge.
Different people, because I think it was 6 coins he needed, and I think he got it from 4 different people, or maybe he was one of the 4 people. But so maybe it was he went to 3 different people, but like 3 different people that before that episode we had thought were on different like wavelength, different thoughts. I feel like him getting those advantages, or Suri not having advantages ever shouldn't be a testament to her like only using her brains. I feel like Tony did the same, and he did it. He found all the stuff he needed to find, and he did it or used it to the best of his advantage. And I mean, who knows? Maybe Suri would have done the same, but she didn't have the chance because she didn't get the advantages that Tony went and got himself. So,
and I'm not just including that. I'm talking about like challenges too. She didn't win any of those. Tony needed those in Winners at War. I think that whether or not he needed the advantages to win, sure, I agree with that. I just think that he had more in his column that she didn't need. I don't think that it's a knock on him. I think it's just a bolster on her.
Yeah. And I think that he had arguably the 2 most dominant wins in Survivor. And how can you not be the best? How can I not vote you the best if you had done that? So I think I'm voting Tony. Goodbye, everyone.
Well, put his name in the damn center.
Oh, that's true. I was doing that. Would have been.
There it is. Tony.
With anyone, or not anyone. With goddamn. Suri or Tony. I do think those are the 2 best, even though Suri's never won. But Tony twice.
The winner, unsurprisingly, is the 2-time winner, God of Survivor, King of Survivor, Crazy Man, Tony Vlachos, in our March Madness bracket. This took way longer than I thought it was going to, actually.
Dude, we just crossed 2 hours.
You know what? But like epic.
I'm so glad we split it into 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would have had to sift through. I would have
How
had to
did
sift
we
through
think
almost
we were gonna
4
get this
hours.
done in half an hour?
Well, as soon as we said like we'll split it into 2, I was like, okay, then I can talk longer on each.
Oh,
There was like
man.
a row of 4 or something where we were like, we're just voting quick on this.
Okay, all right.
All right. Well, thanks for joining in, everybody, and watching along and listening along.
What do
you
you
have a good
think should have
lunch.
won?
Who do you think should have won? Comment down below why Abby Maria deserved to win.
Yeah.
Why
Thank you
Francesca?
guys. Why Francesca? We
Why
almost had her in.
We did. She's a 2-time player.
She was on that list for sure. Anyways, thank you guys so much. If you guys watched all of part 1 and all of part 2 or listened to or however you consumed this, you're a real one. Thank you so much. I had a blast even though I was yawning and rolling around in my chair a lot. I'm sure you both had a blast as well.
Oh, it was fun.
I like brackets.
Brackets are fun. Brackets are just
I'm ready to go eat some food.
I'm ready to go to bed.
Now I can talk in my real voice.
Again, guys, don't forget to follow us on socials at Survivors Ready Pod on TikTok and Instagram, and at Survivors Ready RDY Pod on Twitter. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel to check out the video format of the podcast. And don't forget to follow/subscribe to whatever podcasting app of your choice. Just look up Survivors Ready Podcast. And if you listen to specifically Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please, please, please give us a 5-star rating. And yeah, that's about it.
No, not 2, Connor. 5.
Deuces.
Later.
Bye.